Now, Count on 2, live and local in the Low Country. This is News 2 at 11.
Being mentally ill is a crime in this state.
202 days since the death of an inmate.
We owed it to them to do a thorough investigation.
And 75 days since we first showed you this video. Tonight, a decision made on whether sheriff's deputies were criminally responsible for Jamal Sutherland's death.
The problem in proving the criminal intent is that this is how they were trained.
No charges filed tonight. A heartbroken mother calling for change.
Where are you helping the mentally ill?
And a former sheriff defending his practices.
But there are times when you have to be a gladiator.
News 2 at 11 starts right now.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Carolyn Murray.
It's good to have you here. I'm Brendan Clark.
New tonight, the person who led the Charleston County Sheriff's Office for more than 30 years is responding to criticism that training practices and procedures instituted while he was sheriff are to blame for the death of a Charleston County inmate.
Al Cannon says his department did much more good than harm and says what happened with Jamal Sutherland was a tragic accident. News 2's Riley Benson spoke with Sheriff Cannon, the former sheriff, and joins us now from the Solicitor's office. Riley, the Solicitor, Scarlett Wilson, insisting today changes need to be made to the system.
Yeah, Carolyn, Brennan, Solicitor Wilson says major change and reform is needed within the Charleston County Sheriff's Office following the death of Jamal Sutherland. Tonight, former Charleston County Sheriff Al Cannon is responding to the criticism, saying policies adopted under his leadership proved successful and helped make it a nationally accredited law enforcement agency.
The problem in proving the criminal intent, however, is that this is how they were trained.
Solicitor Scarlett Wilson says she won't charge Deputy Brian Hewley and Sergeant Lindsay Fickett, the two deputies involved in Jamal Sutherland's death, saying they acted based on their training they received under the leadership of former Sheriff Al Cannon.
My heart aches for the Sutherland family. That is a tragic outcome, and I'm more than sorry that it happened.
Former Charleston County Sheriff Al Cannon responding to criticism of policies enacted during his tenure, saying they prevented more injuries than harmful outcomes.
Those policies, procedures, and the training have proven well for us for 25 years.
Sheriff Cannon says the methods haven't been perfect, but he believes the analysis conducted by use of force expert Gary Rainey doesn't paint the full picture of the detention center's operations.
We have rules. People comply with them, and we have that rapid response in the event we have problems, and that prevents them from getting bigger.
Policies and training meant to keep inmates and detention staff safe.
So if you start letting people get away with things, then that potentially creates problems for others.
One of the biggest criticisms, Cannon's policies were aggressive and intimidating to inmates. Sheriff Cannon says he doesn't agree with the claim.
Majority of the time you're taking care of inmates and, everybody's getting along, all right? But there are times when you have to be a gladiator. Just the idea that he said they act like gladiators and not guardians. Well, but you have to be, depending on the circumstances, a little bit of each.
Now, Sheriff Cannon says he has not watched the video of Jamal Sutherland's death. He also says he has had no involvement in the case since leaving the Charleston County Sheriff's Office just days before Jamal Sutherland's death. For now, reporting live in downtown Charleston, Riley Benson, Count on 2.
And Jamal Sutherland's mother, Amy Sutherland, is reacting to Ninth Circuit Solicitor Scarlett Wilson's decision. She was initially upset, but now she's claiming that this is proof that the laws have to change because she believes her son's death could have been avoided. She's challenging lawmakers to pass an excessive force law that would hold officials accountable in situations such as the one that happened to her son.
What in South Carolina? Set up for the mentally ill. I'm going to stop that down everybody's throat. Where are you helping the mentally ill? Because you're not helping them in the jail. I know you're not helping them in the hospitals because you beat them, throw them out, you do anything you want to do because those doors are closed.
South Carolina State Representative J.A. Moore says legislators are working on excessive force bills as well as mental health bills for next year's session. Meanwhile, Amy Sutherland is also calling for more resources to help people who are mentally ill.
We're also hearing for the first time the interview of the deputies involved in this case. State agents questioned both former Deputy Brian Hoole and Lindsay Fickett for hours. The former deputies were asked what commands they received from superiors and what training they have received over the past years. We learned today Hoole has expressed to his superiors concerns and tried to postpone the hearing in order to avoid escalating the conflict. Fickett says she had assessed the situation before beginning the extraction.
Well, my assessment is I saw where he was in the room. I saw, his size, his stature, and his actions, what he was doing. He was blading off. He had an object in his hand, and, it seemed like he was extremely agitated and he wasn't listening to Fennel at all.
And today, a use of force expert says his findings helped lead Solicitor Wilson to her final decision.
Greg Rainey has worked in law enforcement for decades and has prosecuted both in favor and against law enforcement officers during his career. He compiled a 52-page report regarding the use of force in this Sutherland case. In that report, he writes, quote, "The events preceding Sutherland's death are disturbing," describes the jail's policies and training as, quote, "seriously flawed," and that the event was foreseeable and had the Charleston County Sheriff's Office leadership been paying attention, end quote. But Rainey concluded he could not prove the deputies had reckless disregard for safety. Instead, they just followed what he says was common practice.
In my mind, the training and tactics the Sheriff's Office have used since 2008 are indefensible. Much of the training and the practices in jail were not based on best practices that we know in jails and how to do extractions, how to deal with the mentally ill. They wear load-bearing vests with pepper spray canisters. Shocking to me, unheard of in other jails, they wear tactical shotguns at, as best I know, all times in the jail.
In his report, Rainey said repeatedly that Sutherland's death was preventable.
For all the latest information on the Jamal Sutherland death investigation, you can go to our website, see the stories, read the details. Go to counton2.com. The state of South Carolina and the defense rest their case in the murder trial of Nathaniel Rowland. Rowland, accused of kidnapping and murdering South Carolina student Samantha Josephson back in 2019. Monday, the jury listened to testimony from the pathologist who conducted the autopsy of Josephson's body. He said she had about 120 stab wounds. The state then handed the pathologist the multi-tool with knife blades they showed jurors last week. Investigators say testing strongly supports Josephson's DNA and blood is on the blades of that tool.
They are bent at the tip, and they're the size appropriate for the wounds that I saw. This is the weapon.
Closing arguments, jury deliberation expected tomorrow. The jury returns to the courtroom 9:30 tomorrow morning.
Heading over to Shem Creek, where the temperature at this hour is 82 degrees. It's not going to cool that much more, so tomorrow you're going to start out around 80. It's going to zoom up there, but we're going to start out with some rain, it looks like. Right now it's dry. It's 79 degrees in Somerville, 78 St. George, Mount Pleasant 81, 78 as we head up towards King Street. And here's our Storm Team 2 Weather Network. St. James Santee Elementary Middle School is 82, J.K. Gordine 78. Right here at Channel 2, we're still at 83. The reason we feel pretty confident we're going to get some rain to start is what we see down to our south and southeast. That's kind of circulating around this area of low pressure that's going to move in across southeast Georgia and already driving some showers and thunderstorms from the south to the north. So it looks like most of this rain will start to kind of move along the beaches overnight and into your rush hour tomorrow. So plan accordingly, and our forecast models backing that up. Here's our 7 o'clock look, and at that time there could be quite a few downpours moving across the Charleston area. starting at the beaches and moving inland. Still some scattered showers around lunchtime. I think we'll get a break later in the day, and that will continue as we head into the night, where a few more showers could pop, but most of the area will start to dry out. It's also going to heat up over the next few days. We'll break it down in the 10-day forecast in just a few minutes.
And joining us now is our Olympic correspondent, Jack Doles, settling in out there in Tokyo.
Yeah, Jack, you know, it's been a very busy 24 hours in Japan. What are some of the highlights for the United States?
Well, the biggest highlight, Brendan and Carolyn, was Lydia Jacoby winning the gold medal in the women's 100-meter breaststroke. We expected to win a gold there, but we thought it would be Lily King trying to defend that gold. But the 17-year-old from Alaska wins a gold medal before she ever steps foot on the campus at the University of Texas, where she'll swim shortly. So that's big. And tonight, weather permitting, and right now it looks pretty good, United States women's softball team plays for a gold medal against Japan. Last time these two teams met in the gold medal game was 13 years ago. We hadn't seen Olympic softball since then, so they've had to wait 13 years for a little revenge, and they'll get that opportunity in Tokyo tonight.
Yeah, Jack, there's just so much going on today, but tomorrow a big day as well.
It most certainly is. The women's soccer team playing Australia. Are they expecting another big win?
Well, we're expecting a big win, but what the U.S. has to do here is either win or tie this game. If they win or tie, they advance to the quarterfinals, and the goal for this team is to win that gold medal that they didn't win in Rio 5 years ago. U.S. women's soccer, 4 golds, 1 silver, and 1 non-medal. That's not acceptable for this team. They're out here to win a gold, but to do that, they're going to have to win or draw tonight against the Australian women's team.
All right, and we are behind them 100%. Jack Doles, thank you so much. Always good to see you.
Good to see you too. Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, time for our fishing forecast as we take you to the waterways. As we just showed you, we could see some rain to start the day. High tide 11:18 in the morning, low at 5:25 in the afternoon. Southerly wind about 10 to 15 knots with a 30% chance. We'll see some of those showers. Hey, if you miss our forecast right here on News 2, catch us on the radio. 2 girls and a guy in the morning on Mix 95.9. You're watching News 2 at 11.